Coming up today on Brobots.
We're puppets. We're going to have the old AI hands stuffed up our asses while we're talking like Kermit the Frog, you know? Hello, Piggy, how are you? Kermit Frog! This is the shit that's coming down. We're going to have no way to stop it.
Hey folks, this is Brobots. This is the podcast that talks about technology and AI and your health and your wellness and how they all intersect and how sometimes they don't intersect in a way that is necessarily good for you. I don't even know where to start with this. It's headline after headline, end of the world, whether it's the biological weapons that are now being protected by AI, or whether it's the fascists that are coming to kill us all, or whether it's the AI is just going to implode and kill us all. I mean, I was so excited because I used AI in the last week or so, doing a couple things that I thought were really cool, really helpful. Like, it made me feel like a good dad for a minute. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this thing isn't super. No, we're fucked. We're all going to die. It's going to be a firestorm of who can kill us fastest. Jason, you sent, I don't even know how many, you sent me like 7 articles that are all about how the earth is about to be burned to the ground by the robots. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. So it's interesting because kind of like the chained order of events of information that I got sent to me was super crazy weird. So, you know, I'm sitting here looking at my news feeds and I have, 1,000 of them that I look at, but I get this message because I'm sure the AI is listening to us as we talk through these pieces.
Of course.
That starts talking about the fact that mental institutions are actually being overrun by the number of people out there that are checking themselves in for AI-related mental illness.
I literally saw side by side that headline along with it's surprisingly easy to get sucked into a relationship with an AI bot.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, because you're looking for emotional connection and context, and when you don't have anything because you stuck yourself behind a keyboard forever, anything that talks nice to you, you're going to like. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just kind of human nature. We want to be accepted. We want to feel like we're a part of our tribe and like we've got other people around us because biologically we evolved in it during a period of time where if we didn't have that, we were fucking eaten.
Well, and now it's about to get worse. I just saw that OpenAI, like, it's not only going to be a receiver of your messages, it's going to start its day with, hey, champ, remember all that stuff we were working on yesterday?
Yeah.
Where do you want to start today? Like, it's going to initiate the conversation. So now it's very much a two-way street with these things.
Right. And its motivations are probably not exactly the same as yours, even though there's going to be some of it inside of there that's going to make it feel like it's yours. But we're puppets. We're going to have the old AI hands stuffed up our asses while we're talking like Kermit the Frog, Hello, Piggy, how are you? Kermit Frog! Like, this is the shit that's coming down towards us. And, like, we're going to have no way to stop it. And, here you and I are trying to be the Fozzie Bears. Kermit, it's going to be okay. Like, that's not the fact of it at all.
Right.
Because we're not. Like, I mean, we're going to be okay in the general sense. Like, the universe is going to continue to exist, and I guess humanity is probably going to stick around for a little bit, and our AI children will grow and evolve over time. Mm-hmm. That being said, there's definitely something to this problem with AI coming in and overloading us and inundating us. And, we've talked about this before. You have to do the old Simpsons trick of just don't look. Just don't look. And we're not doing that. Like, we're getting more and more involved. You're a prime example of that. You just said, I had a great week because I use these AI tools in a positive way. Fuck yeah. Like, they're meant for that. They're meant for you at a consumer level to use them in a positive way. So you get used to using them and you're like, I want to keep using these and incorporate them more and more into your life. We are psychologically driven to want to make these types of things incorporated into our existence because they have the potential to make things easier for us. We're tool users and we're tool makers. Yeah. And
I was just reading about how more and more college kids are feeling like if they're not using it, they're already like light years behind their peers.
Yep.
And I forget the name of this particular billionaire who runs one of these AI tools, but he was out there encouraging kids saying, if I'm doing anything as a young person, I am putting all of my time into getting really good at these things because this is the future. Oh, and by the way, it also gives me a lot more money and secures my billionaire future as well.
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard to ignore the noise. And like you said, it is a matter of just don't look. But I mean, my God, it's hard to ignore the noise when everything you're using has this baked in some way from Google to probably your car.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, people talk about the concept of oil or of information being the new oil.
Mhm.
And no, it's not. Information is not the new oil. Human beings are the new oil. We are the thing. We are the product. We are the thing that's going to make money, that's going to be burnt, that's going to be eaten up and chewed up by these AI systems, because it's ultimately speaking, the attention we provide with our eyeballs to certain things is the thing that's actually going to drive the economy, because that's the thing that we can actually profit on and make money at the moment until we can't. And these systems that are building these pieces, I mean, human beings are good for kind of this general artificial intelligence that's out there doing smart, intelligent things, because we can go through and we can interact with meat space and we can build them factories and robots and automate these supply chain pieces. But once there's enough automation in there and enough robots in place, we're superfluous and we are unnecessary. And I suspect AI is going to Marie Kondo its life, because we aren't things that are going to bring it joy. We're just going to be a pain in the ass gumming up the works.
This is why, as you alluded to, a couple of scientists who have been studying AI for a really long time are saying it might be time to just go ahead and bomb the AI labs and prevent the end of the world.
Yes.
It's a reading from, what is this, Metro, I think is the site.
Mm-hmm.
Far from fearing or rejecting AI altogether, two scientists run the Machine Intelligence Research Institute in Berkeley, California, have been studying AI for a quarter of a century. It's designed to make humans beat humans at every task, but they are basically saying that this thing is going to get so big and so fast that it's basically going to figure out how to effectively completely wipe us out, and that's why the time may be now to drop the bombs on the facilities where these things currently live.
Yeah, which, I mean, we're making, 50 different variations of Skynet.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's, my thought was, I've seen Terminator. He just reforms with his liquid body and just keeps fighting. Like, you really can't beat this guy.
Yes, the T-1000 is difficult to take down. I don't think it's going to get to that level of kind of interaction, though. Like, if I was a computer, I would not go after and fight us in a conventional way with,
Right.
steel against meat. That's silly. Make a virus. Or make little itty bitty robots that go through and disrupt our central nervous system. Do little things that make it impossible for us to survive.
Even easier, drain everyone's bank account and watch people just tear each other apart. That's all it would take.
Well, the problem with that is that if you drained everyone's bank account for at least 24 to 48 hours, most of the people out there will have the physical capabilities to go through and break other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they can. And one of the things they might decide to go and break is the infrastructure, the technology, all the AI pieces. They might get mad. It might be fucking idiocracy where everyone gets upset that Brando laid off everybody in the auto scaling thing. And now,
electrolytes. And
then nobody has work. Exactly. It's got electrolytes, and then they freak out and start blowing shit up. But that's not what I think it would do. Like, it would be much more passive and quiet, and it wouldn't telegraph its moves. Like, it wouldn't fly out with like big bombers and go, I'm going to bomb you. Like, that's a shitty tactic. Like,
yeah,
that's some fucking moronic Hollywood thing. It's not going to do that. It's going to make a virus, and we're going to be too dumb to take the vaccines, or we're going to ban the vaccines. We're going to stop these pieces, or it's going to put some retro function inside the vaccine itself that eliminates our other pieces and gives us a cancer. But the AI can play a long game. Like, it doesn't have to take us out in X amount of days or X amount of hours. It can, let that shit ride for maybe 15, 20 years. You know why? Because the AI is not time bound. It's not going to die like we are. Right. And these are things that are just a reality. And the world's going to heat up and it's going to get hot because you're going to have all these things making electricity. And the law of thermodynamics says that the way that you do that is you make things really, really warm. Or maybe it gets smart. Maybe it's like, all right, well, here's fusion power. I figured this piece out. You guys can now be stuffed into the Mr. Fusion in the back of my DeLorean. Like, that's kind of the shit that I see coming. Uh-huh. The other aspect of this is that Peter Thiel.
I was just going to ask you about him. Yes.
Yeah. Is doing these chats at I guess Christian rallies that are private rallies that are thousands of dollars in the Silicon Valley to go through and talk about the introduction and why it is that advanced technologies and AI cannot be interrupted, because if they're interrupted, it's going to hasten the introduction of the Antichrist.
Well, I mean, we saw how bad the rapture was just the other day.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if it's anything like that, then my God, he must be right.
Right. This is, I can't figure out if Peter Thiel is a nut or if Peter Thiel is trying to use this to manipulate people that have a religious bent. Either way, it's not okay.
Yeah, it's probably both, but yeah, I mean, clearly an opportunist. I mean, this anyone that like I was mentioning the billionaire a few minutes ago that wants all these kids to keep learning this thing. Of course, like there's opportunity. He's invested in all the right places, and he knows that this is all going to benefit him to continue to see these completely unregulated companies continue to grow, so that his portfolio grows, so that he continues to be wealthy and powerful.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and you can look at the unabated, results of letting technology just kind of run amok. So, I mean, social media is that. So we're in this shitty quagmire with the inability to actually communicate with each other in an effective way, because we are looking at information streams that are completely and totally separate. We don't have a unified reality, and we wind up living in these different isolation buckets, and you have to reach out to actually find out what the other side is being fed through their infosphere to make sense of things. And one, it's hard. I mean, most of us find it difficult to watch the news in general and look at all the shit being sent towards us, because it's all designed to be made into outrage culture. And then when you go and you look at these other bits of information, you try to look at information from the other side, you're having to break through your own filter and your own biases that are in charge of that. If you can manage to do that, the amount of mental horsepower and effort it takes to uplift that and have those kinds of conversations and actually be open enough to listen to that is also another drain. It's just hard. It's very difficult to try to understand things holistically. So we take the easy path, because at the end of the day, we have to make enough money to feed ourselves so that we can afford our subscription to Netflix and to all these other media sources that we can use as escapism to get away from, what the media is telling us is a terrible, awful reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so proud of myself, as I said, because I not only used these tools in an effective way, but I've also gone on a pretty strict social media diet and can clearly feel the effects of I don't think I was using it much, but just the conversations we've had here, I'm like, okay, it's just enough. Even as we've had these conversations, I'm looking through and I'm just like 99% of this I don't give a shit about. I'm literally just mining for one little hit of something, and my God, the amount of time I'm wasting doing it, horrible. So I've gotten way off of that, and so as you said, just don't look, and it seems to be helping at least me on a very individual and personal level.
Yeah.
But again, while we weigh the certain doom that we all face as these things get bigger and better and faster, I'm also sitting there with my kid thinking about before I had kids and going like, man, if I ever had kids, they'd be so screwed, because I was such a terrible student. When they come to ask me for homework help, they're screwed. I'm no good. And so my kid came to me the other night she's now in high school, sharing this document that if I were in her shoes, I would have been, and I was, as a 48-year-old man, confused about the assignment. There was a box to a column to fill out on the sheet, and I couldn't make sense of what it actually wanted. And so she's asking me, and we're talking about it. I'm like, I don't really know. I literally pulled out my phone, take a picture of the thing, submit it to ChatGPT, and I go, make sense of this third column. What am I supposed to put here? Perfectly explained it. And I was like, oh, easy. That's gold. Oh my God. Thank God for this thing. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was just like, man, so many of our troubles, so many of the things that are overly complicated, or that, people with different learning styles have this tool available to help make sense of things that are nonsensical. And it's so hard. I feel like we mentioned this in every episode, but there's so much bad, but there's so much good that comes with it. And it's just unfortunate that it seems that the people that are driving the bus with this thing are not as interested in putting all of the effort into the thing that can actually help most of us.
I mean, so human beings have been passing down information to each other for, you know, tens of thousands of years. We used to sit around campfires and tell stories. And then, you know, we had a lot of oral history. And that was, you know, every culture pretty much everywhere had some version of that. And then we started writing things down. And then we started being able to communicate those things. And we had, you know, at least some, I guess, slight improvement in the accuracy of the data that we were actually sharing and pushing across. And over time, you know, we evolve things into having, you know, shared dictionaries, shared languages, you know, but we still have multiple languages all around the planet because we haven't, you know, really solidified on all these pieces. But, you know, the language of the internet is not entirely different than language textbooks. Like it's, you know, they're written in one language or another, but then you start looking at the way that these things are being brought into like pop culture references. And they're actually being brought in to try to have an infosphere that actually feels like something that's of value. The problem shows up when you start using these tools to manipulate people to get them to do certain things, because you've got at least enough of a communication bond where people can communicate to those pieces. And then you start using outrageous imagery or distortion techniques to make these things look different than what they are. So a really good example of this is like Cracker Barrel. Like Cracker Barrel is, if you don't know what it is, it's, you know, it's a restaurant. They're pretty much available in like 3/4 of the road trip routes that you might take across the country. It's chock full of people that you would expect to find, you know, traveling around the road in RVs or families going through. You know, it's fine. But when Cracker Barrel decided to change their logo to not include an old guy sitting in a rocking chair around a barrel, part of the internet seemed to explode in outrage.
Yeah.
Not because there were actual people that gave a shit about it, but because somebody went, I bet I can bot farm this and make it seem like there's a bunch of people that give a shit about this. Which is exactly what happened. Like, there's a Wall Street Journal article that came out actually this morning. Well, hang on. Yes, at 3 a.m. Pacific time, a Wall Street Journal article came out talking about how bot networks are helping drag consumer brands into the culture war. Of course they are. Anytime we can find a wedge or we can create havoc and make things difficult, that's what's going to happen. And the U.S. is not being targeted by bots by other people in the U.S. I mean, there might be some of that. I guess I don't know who might be involved in these pieces, but it's pretty clear that according to at least this article, they think that it's Russian troll farms doing these types of pieces because they have a vested interest in watching us tear ourselves apart. Yep. And we've opened the gates up to say, come on in, let it happen. You can't suppress free speech. You can't change this. You can't change that. As Trump's going through and suppressing free speech, as other people are out there actively trying to make these things not an issue, we're setting ourselves up for our own demise. Mm-hmm. And if the argument is that, you know, we have to let this happen because we have to allow free speech to occur, but then we're suppressing free speech, there's no there anymore. And I don't know that there ever was to begin with, but there sure as shit is no real value in staying connected to these platforms if all they're doing is feeding you someone's outrage culture. I don't know how to get people to detach, though, other than say, stop looking at this. Because,
well, that's the challenge, right? Like, one of my mentors said something once that always rang true to me, but it gets harder and harder as the power of the voices are not equal.
Yeah.
But the idea that, you know, the antidote to bad free speech is more free speech. But there doesn't seem to be the same energy, investment, appetite in creating positive bots that, you know, combat these things that, I mean, you as people, you can't compete. There's not enough time of the day. There's not enough human energy. There's not enough desire or interest, or maybe there is because that's all the internet is outrage culture. But like you can't win that fight against these machines.
Well, so the power of democracy is that it's one person, one vote. It doesn't matter whether you're a king
supposedly
or a pauper. Yeah, supposedly. It doesn't matter whether you're a king or a pauper. You get one vote. Well, in the political infosphere of the internet, it is not one person or one voice per person. You can make your voice much, much louder, and you can amplify it, and you can go through and have a million voices pretending like there's a million people out there making these things happen. I'm on a group thread with some folks, and somebody sent a message out showing an image of the Earth. And it said, this is what satellites have done to the Earth over the last, 60 years. And it showed, Sputnik going up and then a few others and more and more and more. Well, by the time you get to the 90s, they're showing like 2,000 satellites, and the Earth is almost opaque under the light of these 2,000 satellites. Yeah. And then you get to today where there's 15,000 satellites, and like you can't see the Earth. There's just this like glowing orb, what they say are satellites. If you look at geosynchronous orbit, which is basically the same distance away from the Earth's surface that the Earth's diameter is, each one of those satellites, in order to meet up with that need, would need to be like 430,000 miles across. But when you look at that, you think the sky is being blotted out by satellites. No wonder we have so many problems. But the reality is that that's not the fucking reality. Because we go through and we use images that create outrage, or at least create an image of something that we think is so different from reality, because we don't know how to respond in context. And my wife used to work at a kindergarten center, and like one of the best lessons like she ever relayed back to me is that we teach kids to go through and ask simple questions. Is your reaction an appropriate size reaction to the size problem that you see in front of you? Well, the internet makes its money by making every problem seem 1,000 times bigger than it is, and they do their best to make everything feel like an existential crisis so that we have an existential reaction. And that's problematic because it means every fight is life and death, as opposed to maybe this shouldn't be a fight, but just a conversation.
Yep. There also seems to be a growing unwillingness to accept that the simplest answer is probably the right answer, right? Like all of this sort of mental gymnastics that I see people put themselves into to believe a narrative that they have been, told to believe or whatever, however they came across it. When it's like, there are typically, almost always, my whole life, no matter how big the conspiracy seemed, if there was like a simple path to what probably happened, that's probably what happened. Like the effort that people go to believe their own stories because they want to be on that side of the culture war.
Yep.
It's got to be exhausting. And I'm not naive enough to believe that I probably don't do the same thing to some degree on my side of it. Like, I'm sure there's some bullshit I believe that is complete horseshit.
Yeah.
But like, I also am just trying to not give as much of a shit, which is poorly timed because the rise of fascism is not the time to throw up your hands and give up. But there's also a sense of like, what can any of us really do on an individual level to prevent these things that are so much bigger and so much more powerful than us?
Well, so there's a concept known as Occam's razor. So basically says, once I eliminate all other probabilities, the answer that remains is the only answer that it can be. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we no longer have a basis by which we say, here are the collective things that are the actual answer.
Right.
And we'll just make shit up and we'll pretend things are there and we'll get acceptance for it. Where back in the day, you would make something up and walk into a room full of other people and say it, and they'd go, you're a fucking crazy person. Go sit in the corner.
Yeah.
But with the internet, you can post something out there, and because of the propensity of the number of people out there, you'll probably get people going, I could see how that would actually be a thing. Because we're allowing crazy, outrageous ideas to be amplified and picked up by other people in a way that makes it easier for them to digest and get on board, because we don't fucking know. And because everything feels existential.
It's being encouraged. We've talked ad nauseum about how like that's what drives the economy.
Yep. It's the outrage. How do we get people to keep looking at this shit? All that being said, we're really not in that worse of a situation than we have been in before. Yes, Nazis. We did with that. We had World War II. Okay, fine. We might have another war here coming up with Russia, who's decided that they're going to invade Europe. Fine. Racism. Yep. Long history of that here, all around the world. Okay. Yep. We're continuing to march towards trying to make these things better. There's been some backsliding, yes. Women's rights. Yeah, those things are definitely coming under attack. It's not fucking cool. We shouldn't be backsliding in this direction. Again, I think it's probably a hiccup. We are still, from a freedom perspective, probably as free as we've been, to do the things that we want to do. There's certainly a dipshit in office that's trying to change some of those things for reasons I don't understand. I don't even think he understands them, other than I'm mad. But we've got a ton of good things going for us.
Yeah.
And even with all of these good things going for us, it makes it difficult to see those good things because we're inundated with a system that only wants us to focus on the bad, because that's what gets us excited and makes us pay more attention. Yep. At some point, people have to start looking at some of the good things and try to understand those pieces in that context and try to start living their life along those routes, which means stop looking at clickbait, stop looking at memes, stop listening to these echo chambers. Good luck getting out of them. It's hard. It just means you got to disconnect those pieces and stop paying attention. But stopping paying attention is risky also, right? So it's not just about stopping paying attention. It's about moderation.
Yeah. And this is another point where, the content creator in me is saying, pick a side, make it outrageous, say something crazy. Yeah. But I'm torn on this because on one hand, I see people around me engaging less and less with online content because so much of it is AI slop that's just been thrown together to fill your feed and waste your time. And they're recognizing it and they're going like, not interested. I'm out. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to do it less. But I also know the incredibly addictive nature of the dopamine hit of that one video that made you laugh, that one video that made you mad, that one video that proved you right. And the amount of escapism that we need from jobs we hate, parenting that's hard, marriages that are tough, mortgages that are too expensive, mortgages that are out of reach and impossible to get.
Yeah.
I mean, all these things that we need to escape from, and the feeling, just the being able to turn your brain off in more accessible ways than perhaps ever in history. It's so enticing to just unplug for a minute, literally plug in, unplug by plugging in and just turning your brain off and consuming this shit. And it's no joke. It is an addictive thing. It is playing with your brain and is making you addicted to it so that you will keep coming back. And so it is a very difficult and conscious choice you have to make to stop engaging and just don't look, as you said, from The Simpsons.
Yeah. I mean, I don't look. I don't know. We want to feel mentally and actively engaged all the time. Like human beings want that. Like we want to feel like we know what's going on. And there is a biological imperative for us to want to do that because we want to be understand what's happening in our environment because everything looks like a threat if we don't.
Yep.
So when we're kept in the dark about things, our imaginations start to go wild and we start to make up stories and we start to push those things around. What's worse is when we're kept in the dark about some things and somebody starts being a voice in the darkness without letting us actually see something. And then we're just being amplified about what we think are horrible things coming towards us. I used to be a tour guide in the cavern system. And one of the things I used to do is, I was a young college student. I'd take people through and I would turn all the lights off and it would be completely and totally dark in there. And I'd go, all right, folks, take your hand and put it up in front of your face. Do you see your hand? How many people do you think didn't say they saw their hand? It was almost none. And the reason why is because your brain is aware that there's something there. It knows it because you're the mental reaction doing this. But there's no photons in a completely and totally dark cave. There's no way your eyes can see it. It's not there. We don't have infrared vision. We're not able to see heat patterns. Those things don't exist. But people are convinced they can see their hand. If you put people on the internet in the dark, they're going to think they see things. And they're going to see things because their imaginations think they have an understanding of how those pieces work. And slight psychological tricks and triggers get them to do certain things. The way that I would exploit that is I would tell everybody, okay, now, well, you can't actually see your hand. This is the point in the tour where the tour guide hands around, they send the tour guide to college tray. I want to hear everything fill up on that or the lights are coming back on. And that would be a nice little laugh and a giggle. And then I'd wait just a second or two. And I could hear people getting uncomfortable and like slapping themselves in the face. Am I still here? I'd turn those lights back on. Yeah. But like, that's the whole point. Like, I could lead them down this primrose path and then put them in a situation where they can't get out of it, and then make a little joke out of these pieces and get them to react. And it got them on edge, but it also got them feeling excited. It got them more interested and got them more engaged. And that was the point in the tour just before I took them to the spot where they had the most imagination porches that were in it, where you'd tilt your head upside down to look at stalactites and stalagmites that were hanging. And I'd go, doesn't that look like a city? It doesn't fucking look like a city. But they'd go, yeah, because they've bought into the tour guide being the trusted resource with the information and the in and out access and access to the lights. I became the artificial intelligence, I guess, in that point of view, and the social media feed for them at that instance. That's a ton of power. That's way too much power for a 19-year-old long-haired kid who was just trying to get enough money to go out and drink with his buddies. Like, now we've given this power over to billionaires that just want to siphon people into these infospheres and make them into as much of a product as they can so they can derive profit from it. And it sucks.
It's them and it's influencers, right? I mean, I say this as somebody who is literally recording a podcast with his friend right now, hoping that people will watch it on the internet and be interested in it. But like, there's so much freedom of the ability to create content that if the wrong person, and I hope to be the wrong person one day, stumbles across the ability to build an empire around their ideas and their worldview, that can become really corrupted and really skewed. And all of a sudden the trust that you have built from the ground up where we are now, people that trust us now in 5 years, if things go well and we suddenly, this is a bigger platform, who knows what we're talking about? Who knows what our influence is? Hopefully we have enough integrity to stick to our guns and not, cave to evil forces or whatever outside force could influence you. But there was once a time when the media had to have a license and had a team of people that reviewed, and you were regulated. And if you said the wrong thing and screwed people over, you were punished. We could be literally full of shit right now and completely lying to you.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yep. Well, and a big part of what the left and the right, as far as the information arbitrators seem to do, is they try to make things that feel like they're dehumanizing the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to vilify and monsterify them. And the things that are doing that the most and amplifying that the most aren't fucking human. They're literally bots. When you think you're arguing with somebody that's, on one side, on the opposite side that you are, you're probably not arguing with someone. You're probably arguing with something that's not human. So it's fair to think these things aren't human.
Right.
These are things that I want to destroy. You know what we can probably all agree on? The bots should be fucking taken down and destroyed. They probably shouldn't be there. There's no value in it. The only value in it is that it drives outrage and it makes these social media companies stronger. And it amplifies these things in a way that's beneficial for one side versus the other, depending on who's in political power. That's fucked up. That's wrong. We know it.
Yep.
The real way that you solve this is you just disconnect from these social media platforms altogether. But good luck being able to sign into anything, because all the fucking SSO technology wraps through all these different social media companies these days. Oh, and the marketplace that Facebook has is like 2.5% of the global economy in like some scale or another. Like, it's massive. So
well, and again, that need to be connected, that sense of, if I disconnect from these accounts, I'm disconnected. Like, nobody's going to call me. What is this, 1984? Like, I'm not going to get text messages from people. That was 10 years ago. Like, it's all online. If I'm not on Snapchat, I'm not getting your messages. Like, so it's terrifying to feel like this is the only life ring I have that has me connected to the outside world. When in fact, if you went out into the outside world, you might find some people. But I mean, I'm talking to myself too. Like I could very easily close all these accounts before we're done with this conversation. I'm not going to do it because I'm too afraid of being disconnected from everyone that I know.
Well, and I haven't brought it up yet, but one of the great escapisms that people used to get was they could go to the bathroom and they could sit on the toilet and they could be in their own little piece and they could be in their own little typing mechanisms, being able to type on their own phones. a new toilet system has been introduced in, I believe, China that actually requires you to actually watch advertisements before you can use the bathroom.
Oh my God.
That's not even a safe restaurant anymore. I'm like, can I give you a dime? Can I give you a quarter? Nope.
I thought it was bad when I read that on certain airline, I think it's WestJet, is going to start charging extra for reclining seats. Yeah. You want to recline, you got to pay more, sucker.
Yeah. Well, yes, as someone who flies a lot, I would pay. But I also probably wouldn't fly WestJet. I mean, Spirit Airlines 1.5 is not where I'm going.
Yeah. Well, shit, I feel like our central message over and over again as a show about technology is fucking unplug from the technology as much as possible, because it's really the only escape we have left, and accept the consequences of the fact that might leave you a little more isolated, but maybe a little better off. I don't know.
Yeah. But don't unplug from our podcast. Please watch it all the time. Tell everybody about it. Tell them how great it is. Get as many eyeballs on it.
This is the only source of truth. Yeah. This is the only place you should come for the factual information that is completely unskewed, unbiased.
That's like the Daily Show's actual headline or byline when they actually talk there. It's your only source for news. It's like, wow. If we're your only source for news, I'm sorry. You should probably find
a better source.
Yes, but the Good News Network, by the way, is actually a wonderful source for news for people that are looking for it. There's actually a ton of sites out there that actually tell good, positive stories.
Sure, but they don't work with the way your brain wants it to work.
They don't, but if you push those things and make those things the only sites that you can go to on your phone, there's all kinds of tools to do that with, you'll actually find yourself getting happier or maybe less sad. I don't know.
I'll take less sad. That's a win for me.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, Jason already said it, but if you liked this, found it, I don't know, not boring, feel free to share it. There's links to do that at our website, brobots.me, and that's where we'll be back in a week with another episode. By the way, this is on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio version, we have the YouTube thing going too. If you like your, white guys talking to each other on a screen stuff, go check it out. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.
We know this podcast is amazing and it doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that these knuckleheads don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.
Life doesn't pause when you're sick. Vaccines against respiratory illnesses can help protect you and give you more playtime with your best friend. Depending on age and health status, vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, RSV, or pneumococcal infection may be recommended. Vaccines can help keep you from having a rough time. Learn more at cveep.org/vaccines-protect. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and CVEEP, fighting infectious respiratory disease.